What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So we have some very interesting news as undefeated Mexican superstar welterweight title contender Vergil Ortiz Jr. 18 wins, no losses, no draws. 18 wins by way of knockout, 24 years of age, 5'10" with a 70-inch arm reach. With that said, Vergil Ortiz will be making a ring return March 19th against Michael McKinson, who's an undefeated fighter, 21 wins, no losses, no draws, 2 wins by way of knockout. Michael McKinson is out of the UK, United Kingdom, British superstar fighter. With that said, that fight is scheduled to take place March 19th, Los Angeles, California, and it's a Southern California homecoming for Vergil Ortiz Jr. With that said, Vergil Ortiz Jr., Vergil Ortiz's promoter, retired Olympic gold medalist, Hall of Fame, 5-division world champion, turned promoter and founder of Golden Boy Promotions, Oscar the Golden Boy De La Hoya, and Vergil Ortiz Sr., Vergil Ortiz's father, who is his trainer and head trainer now. With that said, they had a lot to unpack, okay? Vergil Ortiz Jr. and Vergil Ortiz Sr., they feel like the reason that they chose to go with a new trainer, they were with former world champion, well-renowned trainer in Robert Garcia. Now they have switched trainers and they are with Manny Robles. But there was a lot of speculation that they could possibly sign with well-renowned trainer, 2-time trainer of the year, Eddie Reynoso, who trains 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer, who currently is the undisputed super middleweight world champion, widely considered the face of the sport of boxing, top 3, if not number 1 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, in Saul Canelo Alvarez. So he explains why they didn't go the route of Eddie Reynoso, and he states that they're not trying to be in Canelo Alvarez's shadow. They want to be the next Vergil Ortiz Jr., not the next Canelo Alvarez. There's only one Canelo Alvarez, and they didn't want to be in a confined space. They want to be social and out and about, alluding to that the way that Eddie Reynoso does things is secluded, and they don't want to be in a secluded atmosphere. They want to be able to explore. So I agree with him 1000%. He should want to be in his own shadow, not in Canelo Alvarez. He should want to be in his own light, not in Canelo Alvarez's shadow. Okay. And another thing that jumped out at me was something that confused me, is that he stated that it's time for these fighters to drop the belts, vacate the belts, or move on, because they're not fighting each other and they're not fighting him. And he's alluding to undefeated unified WBC IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer, who is widely considered by many to be top 3 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, and Errol the True Spence Jr., 27 wins, no losses, no draws, 21 wins by way of knockout, 31 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. And he was alluding to another fighter, undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning WBO welterweight world champion, who's widely considered by many to be the number 1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and Terence Crawford at 38 wins, no losses, no draws, 29 big wins by way of knockout, 34 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. And so he says that if these guys are not going to fight each other, they're holding up the division, they need to move out the division or fight him, which is completely baffling and confusing, because Terence Crawford was ringside when he fought former WBO junior welterweight world champion turned welterweight title contender Maurice Mighty Mo Hooker. He's a part trainer of Mighty Mo Hooker, and Terence Crawford is also a stablemate of Maurice Hooker. Okay, so he was very present. And Vergil Ortiz, he stated that he was going to call out Terence Crawford after he knocked out Maurice Hooker, and there was nowhere for Terence Crawford to hide. Well, after the fight, Terence Crawford was front and center, made his presence felt, and Vergil Ortiz was asked after the fight, "Are you ready to fight Terence Crawford?" And he said, "I don't know if I'm ready, but I guess I'll have to find out." But then you moved on to fight Igor Kavalauskas, the Mean Machine, opposed to fighting Terence Crawford and pushing for the Terence Crawford fight. Now, he also stated that Errol Spence is the biggest fight they could make because they come from the same gym. They both come from Dallas. He knew Errol Spence since he was a teenager, and that it would be a massive fight in Dallas at AT&T Stadium, which is ironic, to say the least, because Errol Spence is unifying the belts against WBA welterweight world champion Cuban star boxer Yordenis Ugas, who's 27 wins, 4 losses, no draws, 12 wins by way of knockout, 35 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 69-inch arm reach. They're going to unify the belts. 3 belts will be on the line. April 16th, Arlington, Texas, AT&T Dallas Cowboys Stadium, better known as Jerry World. April 16th. So when he says that these champions need to either fight each other or get out the way, it's very confusing because Errol Spence is fighting Yordenis Ugas in a unification bout. Terence Crawford is free after defeating former 2-time welterweight world champion superstar boxer Showtime Sean Porter. And Vergil Ortiz is fighting Michael McKinson. As he stated, he was the only person that was available for them to fight. But Terence Crawford is available. And on top of that, we know that you're with Golden Boy Promotions and DAZN, but you're saying that nobody's available, but Terence Crawford is a network promotional free agent as of now. Terence Crawford doesn't have a promoter. He's parted ways since his November 20th showdown with Sean Porter. He's parted ways with longtime promoter, top-ranked legendary promoter and CEO Bob Arum, and top-ranked in ESPN. So he's a network promotional free agent. Now, we know that there's talk he's with MTK Global, where MTK Global has a relationship with DAZN. So it's an easy fight that should be made, okay? So with that said, you know, that's a fight that could be made. Terence Crawford, he went and confronted Vergil Ortiz Jr. He said that you're not ready for this fight. You don't want this fight. You're not ready. You need more time. And it seems like Vergil Ortiz Jr. and his team, they obliged Terence Crawford and they agreed, and they felt like, well, we need more time because after they beat Maurice Mighty Mo Hooker, they fought another guy that Terence Crawford already stopped in the Mean Machine, Igas Kavalauskas. So why not pursue the fight with Terence Crawford? That's misleading the fans. So he stated that, you know, it's unfair that Vergil Ortiz Jr. can't get an opportunity to fight for a world title, and these guys are holding up the division, when that's misleading to the fans. And I like the take of Vergil Ortiz Sr. You know, I like his mindset, and I think that he has the best interest for his son for sure, no doubt. But at the end of the day, you're still misleading the fans when you say stuff like the champions, Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, need to either fight each other or get out the way and vacate the belt so that we could fight for the belts. No, you could fight Terence Crawford for the belt right now. Terence Crawford is a free agent, network promotional free agent. He doesn't have a fight. He's looking for an opponent. Push for the fight against Terence Crawford. You are ranked #1 in the WBO, okay? You can push for a fight with Terence Crawford. You understand? You are ranked #1 in the WBC. Now, we know that Errol Spence is looking to unify the belts, okay? So he was looking to fight Yordenis Ugas. And now he's fighting him in a unification. So when you say these fighters are not fighting each other and they need to get off the pot, use the bathroom or get off the pot, you know, that's very misleading because Terence Crawford is available. And we're hearing nothing, no talks of you fighting Terence Crawford, and then you're telling the fans that they either need to fight each other or vacate the belts when Errol Spence is fighting Yordenis Ugas, so he's unifying the belts, okay? There's another fighter out there, a big fight that they can make against undefeated, rising welterweight superstar title contender, and Jaron Boots Ennis, who is 28 wins, no losses, no draws, 26 big wins by way of knockout, 24 years of age, 5'10" with a 74-inch arm reach. He's going into a title eliminator mandatory position for the IBF title, and that's Jaron Boots Ennis. And Jaron Boots Ennis is seeking out the best fights possible. And there was talks of Jaron Ennis facing Vergil Ortiz, and Vergil Ortiz and his team, they stated that they need about 48 months. Well, we can count 48 months is 4 years. It's 12 months in a year. If you need 48 months, well, 12 times 2 is 24, and 24 times 2 is 48. So that's 4 years. Okay? Okay, and I understand if you say, well, we're not interested in fighting Jaron Ennis because we're looking to fight for titles. But to say the only person available, it would make sense. You're number one in the WBC rankings. You're number one in the WBO. You're top 3 in every major sanction rankings. So if you fight Michael McKinson and you say that Michael McKinson, you're justifying fighting Michael McKinson because Michael McKinson is top 3 fighter in the world, then why didn't you push to fight Jaron Boots Ennis? He's a top 3 fighter in the world. You see, and then you say, well, the champion is not looking to fight, or these fighters are not looking to fight. These are the situations that are misleading to the fans. Just say that he said the only fighter available was the only guy, and the only fight available was Michael McKinson. And this was in response to the fans, getting frustrated with his level of opponent. Well, Michael McKinson, is not a very credible fighter here in the States. Nobody knows who Michael McKinson is, okay? He's not a well-known commodity. And so that's where the frustration comes in when you're looking at a guy of the talent and the skill set of a Vergil Ortiz Jr. and you want to see him fight the absolute best there is to offer, okay? Well, Michael McKinson, who is 21 wins, no loss, no draw, 2 wins by way of knockout, 27 years of age, 5'9", with a 69-inch arm. He's a southpaw, he's slick. And you're trying to justify fighting Michael McKinson, and the reason being is that you can't get the other fighters to fight you. Well, Jaron Boots Ennis would have been more than willing to fight you, and you could have fought Jaron Boots Ennis for an eliminator position as well. Okay, now understand they stated that the likes of Keith Thurman had no interest in fighting him. Okay, Keith Thurman didn't show much interest. Keith Thurman wasn't interested. Keith Thurman said he wouldn't fight Vergil Ortiz Jr., and that Keith Thurman did state that the young guys he's going to give, he's not looking to fight the young guys. He's looking to fight the accomplished guys and fight for a world title. Former unified welterweight world champion, superstar boxer Keith one-time Thurman, who is 30 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 22 wins by way of knockout, 33 years of age, 5'7", with a 69-inch arm reach. Okay, so that's understandable if you're looking from the standpoint of Keith Thurman. But after that, there's big fights to be made. Vergil Ortiz is a great talent, and I know they stated that they were looking to pursue Keith Thurman. That's what Oscar De La Hoya said. But the fight they want to make is Errol Spence because it would be huge in AT&T Stadium. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But it's a bit misleading when they say the champions are not looking to fight him. And that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Hi, my name is Heather Vacate Hardy, and you're watching Blue Blood Sports TV.